I began at St. David's 5 years ago, and it was evident from the second I stepped into this building that something special was going on here at St. David's. St. David's offers an amazing education in the Episcopal tradition. It provides the parameters, the guidelines for a moral Christian education. What I love is the fact that I'll get a student in 5th grade that might be going to Sunday school, might be going to church with their family, might be doing things out of obligation because that's the way their family expresses their religious beliefs. And to see them as they grow into an adult and make these decisions for themselves and to grow in their faith and grow in their ability to express their faith is something that is absolutely unique to St. David's.
There's education itself, there's knowledge imparted to a child that where they learn and they grow, but there's also the environment in which that happens. And so we just place a premium on the experience of getting an education. When we moved back to Raleigh in 2006, we had one child, Jack, who was only one at the time. By 2009, we were starting to think about schools because Jack was at a sort of a preschool age, and we decided to move inside Raleigh's Beltline for schools, essentially. We wanted Jack to have an experience in school where he was challenged, where he was encouraged. As we researched it, St. David's seemed to offer all the things that we felt like Jack was going to need to thrive in school. A challenging curriculum and a nurturing environment and honestly a worldview that lined up with our worldview as a family, a Christian worldview, and St. David's really offered that. What's neat though is that once we got into school and Jack became a student there, we realized that it wasn't just Jack that the school was going to be a great benefit to, it was also going to be our other children.
We were going to Chicago a couple of days after Christmas, and the kids were excited. It was an early flight, and everything was great. We get on the flight, and my daughter, Kennedy, said, "Mom, I don't feel so good." And I said, "Well, what's the matter?" And she said, "I have a headache, and I have a stomach ache. I just don't feel good." The more we flew, the worse she felt. We took her to the emergency room, and they admitted us right away. From that moment on, we were in intensive care. Kennedy was diagnosed with Dilafoy lesions, which is rare in children. Each day we would think it was going to get better, and each day her levels would just drop again. And Carrie and I finally had to have the conversation that we knew was coming, which was, you probably, one of us is going to have to go back home. We made the decision that he would come back to Raleigh and I would stay there with Kennedy. It was a very stressful time for us. We had a lot going on. We had, of course, everything going on with Kennedy. Carrie's job was going through a restructuring period, which we had just found out about, so we were dealing with that as well. And when half your family is in one city and half your family is in another city, you feel helpless.
There's a very special distinction that St. David has that we just don't find in too many other schools. It's a community. It's a community of individuals that are firmly committed to raising their children, to educating the next generation of leaders, of thinkers, of artists in a Christ-based education and environment.
When people talk about the community at St. David's, I think oftentimes they're talking about something that we've experienced firsthand, which is just a general warmth and a supportive environment. And a lot of parents are involved at the school. And in fact, I asked my wife the other night, I said, "Do you feel like we have a higher level of involvement from parents than maybe in a typical school?" She said, "Absolutely, absolutely."
We spoke to a friend at St. David's who said, "Is there anything I can do?" And Carrie said, "What we need is to find a team of doctors here. That's what they want us to have on this end." And she knew doctors. She said, "You know what, I can put you in touch with the perfect person at UNC." And there was a text message from a St. David's parent, one of our friends, that said, "Don't worry about meals. We've got you guys covered for the next like 3 weeks, so you don't have to worry about that. Just put a cooler outside and we'll take care of that." There were times I would talk to him and I would say, where are the kids? It's carpool time. Why aren't you at carpool? And he would say, "Well, when I dropped the boys off this morning, I saw one of your friends and they asked if there was anything that they could do. They offered to pick up the kids." So I said, "Okay." And I said, "Well, who was it?" And sometimes he knew and sometimes he didn't even know. But that's okay. It didn't even stress me out because it's St. David's and I trust people there.
I think if you value community relationships at St. David's, and one of the reasons I think people stay at St. David's is for community. We've experienced it even in a greater way that I never anticipated, which is in 2015 and 16, my wife battled breast cancer, and the St. David's community, and by community I mean parents, faculty, even people we didn't even know came around and supported us through that and supported our kids.
The day we got released from the hospital, this is our St. David's community, my friends, a group of friends, when I texted them and said, "Guess what, we're finally going home," in the course of like an hour and a half, they had come to our house, put balloons on our mailbox, a welcome home Kennedy sign with a cake. I mean, the community, they lifted us up when we needed it the most. I mean, they like bridged the gap for us and we didn't have to worry about a thing. They brought our kids home, picked them up, made meals for us, and most importantly, they prayed for us. And I can't tell you the gratitude that I feel, and just, it amazes me. My heart is just full.
My number one job is to teach children to express themselves, to find their voice, to empathize, to think, to collaborate with their fellow students, and to create something greater and larger than themselves. And it's a wonderful, unique opportunity that I get to be an educator, I get to be a director, and I'm also a parent of students that go to St. David's.
Sending your kids to St. David's is, for us, is a big sacrifice. We don't have any outside help and support, so for us it is truly every year it is a financial decision that involves sacrificing other things. When you do that, then to receive such tremendous help in times of need, or just in general, just to know that your family's cared for there. I don't know, where else do you find that? Where else can you find that? I don't know.
St. David's for us is more than a school. It's a commitment for our children. We are on board. We support the school because the school supports us.